Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to be worried about the future of Call of Duty.
Yeah, not its financial future, just to be clear. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which launched last week, has already set all kinds of new franchise sales records.
That's great and all, but it's also evidence that most players just don't care about the game's more troubling aspects, like a higher price, forced console and PC crossplay, phone number requirements, all that other stuff, and Activision found time in between counting all their COD money to shit on their freshly unionized QA department as well.
Yeah, good stuff. So, does this mean that players will accept all kinds of bad practices if the game is good and the brand is well liked? The answer is yes, but we're going to report the full news anyway.
First off, let's talk about all the records that Modern Warfare 2 has broken, because it's pretty impressive, even by Call of Duty standards. For that, we're throwing to our resident Call of Dutyologist, Charlotte. How's it going on the battlefield, Charlotte?
It's the wrong franchise.
Well, how are things with the Battle Pass?
Ooh, that's not out yet.
This is really confusing.
That's okay, take a seat. I'll handle it from here. Earlier this week, Activision put out a release trumpeting the runaway success of Modern Warfare 2, saying that it had the largest opening weekend in franchise history, and oh boy did it ever. In the 3 days after the game's release on October 28th, Modern Warfare 2 raked in $800 million, beating out blockbuster movies like Top Gun Maverick and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh, you know you're a big deal when you're big dogging Tom Cruise.
It also set a franchise record as the #1 top-selling Call of Duty digital opening through its first 3 days. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, you know him, you don't love him, taking a break from eating room temperature sausages with his bare hands like he does, thanked the development team and the players, saying this milestone belongs to them.
But specifically not if you're in a union. More on that later.
That is right. If you're wondering, the previous franchise launch record belonged to Modern Warfare 3, which came out before 2, but not 2, which released back in 2011. Modern Warfare 2 also saw the series' biggest launch on Steam with more than 260,000 concurrent players on October 30th, so a pretty impressive return to that platform.
Now, if you're wondering, that 800 million is definitely a huge launch, but it's not the all-time record for video games. To find that out, we got to do some comparing.
The granddaddy of them all, Grand Theft Auto 5, made $1 billion in its first 3 days back in 2013. Modern Warfare 2 didn't swipe that particular crown at 800 million, but it did just edge out Fallout 4, which actually made 750 million in revenue in its first 3 days.
That's still really good company for Modern Warfare 2 to be in, and it's welcome news for Call of Duty as a franchise, which did stumble a bit last year with the tepid response to Call of Duty Vanguard.
Yeah, Activision execs straight up blamed Vanguard earlier this year for a dip in its monthly active user count. According to financial results from back in April, Call of Duty lost a third of its monthly active players and almost half its revenues over the past year. But that's all ancient history now, and Call of Duty has clearly regained its footing as a top AAA franchise.
Oh, thank God. I was worried about Bobby Kotick. Call of Duty General Manager.
How's he gonna afford all those sausages now?
Call of Duty General Manager Johanna Ferries said that there's more to come for the game. She said in a statement that, quote, an unprecedented level of support for the Modern Warfare universe is on the horizon, and Warzone 2.0's launch is right around the corner. It's an incredible time for the franchise.
Great. So yes, once again, the good times roll, the guns are reloaded, Call of Duty's a cash machine that just goes and this all this comes out despite the fact that Modern Warfare has done a lot of things that gamers supposedly don't like.
We'll run down the list of gamer grievances right after a quick word from our sponsor, Omaze. Inside Games is brought to you by Omaze. We are super excited to be working with Omaze to offer you the chance to win an eco-friendly Tesla Model X Plaid and support a great cause, Reverb. First, let's talk about what you might win. The Tesla Model X Plaid. It's got 1,020 horsepower, seating for up to 7, and the largest panoramic glass roof of any SUV. And of course, the Falcon Wing doors are my personal favorite. And anybody entering for a chance to win the Tesla Model X Plaid is supporting Reverb. Reverb has been leading the green music movement since 2004. Reverb actually partners with artists, festivals, and venues to reduce their environmental footprints while empowering millions of fans to take action on today's most pressing environmental issues. Reverb has greened over 350 tours and 6,000 concert events, eliminated 280,000 tons of CO2e, and prevented the use of over 4 million single-use plastic bottles. So for your chance to win an eco-friendly Tesla Model X Plaid, go to omaze.com/insidegames. That's omaze.com/insidegames and enter right now. Donations support the amazing work of Reverb. And thank you again, Omaze.
Thank you, Omaze. All right, let's get into that real juice. Let's get the squeeze. The gamers are upset, and we got to know why.
They're always upset. For one, Modern Warfare 2 is $70 across every single platform. And while publishers have been tiptoeing around the price hike from 60 to 70, this proves that gamers are willing to shell out top dollar for a blockbuster AAA franchise.
Yeah, if anyone can get away with charging $70 for Call of Duty, it's going to be Modern Warfare 2. I mean, honestly, for this one, for how much it sold, they probably could have charged more.
Don't tell them that. They might not know.
Oh, they know.
No, they know. Yeah, they definitely know. Unfortunately, the price increases are inevitable. Publisher 2K made headlines in 2020 when it announced that it was hiking the price of NBA 2K21 from $60 to $70. That caused some howls of protest, considering that new AAA games had previously stuck around the $60 price for about 15 years.
Yeah, but think about how much it costs to put a full slot machine in your home. Just buy NBA 2K.
It's cheaper that way. Yeah, but development costs for games have skyrocketed over the time span, the $60 time span. Polygon reported that back in 2005, a AAA game like Madden cost between $25 and $35 million to make. By 2020, that had tripled, with development costs running between $75 and $100 million. As Polygon put it, the increase to $70 for new AAA was inevitable. But never mind the fact that gaming companies are, making higher profits than they ever have, even at $60. So, inevitable, eh.
Hey, wait a minute. Those record profits got to come from somewhere, Lawrence.
That's true. You're right. I'm sorry. We got to keep Kotick swimming in the sausages and slot machines.
$70 Call of Duty games are the new norm. Everyone kind of seems happy to pony up.
Yeah, but despite that, Activision seems like it's gotten a little chintzy and wants everyone to buy their own copy. They apparently disabled family sharing for Modern Warfare 2 on Steam just 3 days after launch, with no warning or notice. SteamDB noted that the feature, which allows up to 5 Steam accounts to access shared games on multiple devices, was switched off just after midnight on October 31st. Very scary. No indication as to why Activision did this, but it seems to be intentional. Guess they wanted to goose those sales numbers even more.
So yeah, Call of Duty's $70 now, and you have to get your own copy. There's no angles to work here. Let's talk about yet another controversial part of the new game. This one has been hotly debated on social media: skill-based matchmaking.
That's right, my friend Hutch has been doing his best to evangelize.
Yeah, he's in the trenches every day.
Every day.
God bless.
And you know what? Everything he says is correct. Modern Warfare 2 definitely has skill-based matchmaking. That was confirmed by Charlie Intel, who said that, quote, skill-based matchmaking is in full effect in the Modern Warfare 2 beta.
Yeah, it's not explicitly stated in the game or any of the patch notes, really. But when you start Modern Warfare 2 with a fresh account, you'll be put into matches with other fresh players.
Yeah, and you'll stick with players of similar skill levels as you progress. Win more, and you'll find yourself getting slotted with progressively tougher opponents.
Of course, skill-based matchmaking has been controversial for years now, with some arguing that it should only be used in ranked matches and not casual ones. Folks have varying reasons for arguing this. The most prominent seems to be that players miss the fuck-around matches and the absolute shutouts that would happen without it. We're already seeing some complaints online about SBMM in Modern Warfare 2, with some players claiming that the matchmaking system refuses to let players relax by always matching them with sweaty tryhards non-stop. But others say that SBMM is necessary to keep from scaring new and casual players off, so they don't get immediately curb-stomped by higher-level players.
Yeah, I don't know. I have memories of the before SBMM days. Mostly when players don't like SBMM, and they talk fondly about just crushing lower level players in Halo and how awesome that was, and they want that to come back. But I'm the asshole on the other side of it. I remember playing early League of Legends and early Halo when every game was just an utter wreck. And I had such a negative experience with that, and I didn't learn anything. Getting shut out doesn't teach you anything. You just get beat up on for 15 minutes and then you're asked to play again. I hated it. And that experience was so negative that it made me not really interested in Halo multiplayer for the entire lifetime of that franchise. And also, I never want to play League of Legends, ever again. So,
well, that's
I mean,
just the correct opinion.
I mean, yeah, it did me a favor, But when you consider it like that in terms of player retention, they lost me for good, just based on some early negative experiences, and I'll associate that with that franchise forever. So you, the person listening to this that wants to kill me over and over again, you don't have to care, but I'm not there anymore because SBMM is gone. So, you know, you don't have to care about retaining a player base, but at least acknowledge that it makes sense for companies to care about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe part of the problem is that the real esports pros don't have a mode to really flex their Dorito-fueled gamer muscles. Ranked play is not out yet. That won't arrive until actually next year.
Yeah, in a tweet, developer Treyarch said ranked play won't get here until 2023. They also said that they're working with partners to develop competitive modes, ranked skill divisions, visible skill ratings, a top 250 leaderboard, and competitive rewards.
As a part of that, they said that they'll begin retiring League play in Black Ops Cold War and ranked play in Vanguard this month. They added that, quote, players should grab their remaining rewards by November 22nd in both titles.
Oh, and while we're talking about multiplayer, that brings us to the next little Call of Duty road bump. Modern Warfare 2 supports crossplay, which lets PlayStation, Xbox, and PC users all play together, and that is good. But whether you can disable it or not depends on your system, and that is bad. If you're on PlayStation, you can turn crossplay off. Sony loves their walled garden, but players on Xbox and PC can't disable the feature, and nobody really knows why. Problem there is PC is typically associated with cheats, so console folks at least like the option to wall the garden off a bit if the PC players start hitting some really sussy shots.
Oh, and yeah, what about that phone number requirement, like in Overwatch 2? That got a lot of negative press. Well, you have to give Activision your number in order to play Modern Warfare 2?
Maybe not. According to an official blog post, only PC players will need to register a phone number before playing. Existing Warzone players who have previously verified their accounts won't need to provide any further details.
I wonder why PC is getting singled out here. Probably has nothing to do with that cheating thing we just mentioned.
So, we got a higher price, forced crossplay, which sucks, forced phone number collection, which sucks, except for the cheats, and forced skill-based matchmaking, which doesn't suck. None of these features seem popular, and yet the game's earned record-setting amounts of money, and tons of people are still playing it.
This reminds me of times long past. Modern Warfare 2s of previous years that had unpopular features, and people swore they would not buy it or play it. Boycott it. Actually, Shookland, go into the meme archives and dig out the good shit.
In this legendary moment of gamer solidarity, we have a screenshot of a Boycott Modern Warfare 2 group member list, and if we pan down a little bit, we can see them all playing Modern Warfare 2 as soon as it came out.
Yeah, that's nice. Love that image. Gamer solidarity.
Oh man, sunrise, sunset. And for it's always the same. And for Activision, it's a chance to bask in yet another successful installment of their premier franchise.
Of course, Call of Duty has been a topic of a lot of controversy with Microsoft's pending acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Sony has been furious at the possibility of Call of Duty games no longer coming to PlayStation consoles, and they've tried to get the acquisition stopped by regulators on these grounds.
Recently, Xbox boss, or I'm gonna just say X-Boss from now on. X-Boss Phil Spencer again addressed the issue, and he used some pretty strong language that seems to indicate the franchise will stay multi-platform for the indefinite future.
Specifically, Phil said, quote, "We're not taking Call of Duty from PlayStation. That's not our intent. Our intent is not to do that, and as long as there's a PlayStation out there to ship to, our intent is that we'll continue to ship Call of Duty on PlayStation. Similar to what we've done with Minecraft since we own that."
Now, that's awfully comforting if comfort is what you're looking for. Still, have to acknowledge the word intent is doing a whole lot of work in that quote. Microsoft surely intends to keep shipping Call of Duty on PlayStation as long as Sony makes it worth their while and cuts an appropriately sized check.
That's why they bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after Modern Warfare 2's revitalization of the Call of Duty brand, that check probably gained a 0 or 2.
Well, that's gotta sting. On the eve of acquisition, too. Damn, Call of Duty's back. Gah. So while Activision's stacking up all those sweet Call of Duty bucks, they also somehow found time to dick over one of the industry's fledgling labor organizations. It's a holiday miracle! Nobody thought Activision would make it to the recital in time, just to leave again.
According to newly unionized QA employees at Raven Software, famously well-respected by higher-ups in the game industry, QA, Activision is apparently still denying unionized staff the raises given to all other QA testers. Wow, Go to hell. The employee said that Activision hasn't given the Raven QA testers the $20 an hour minimum pay rate that other non-unionized testers got back in April. The new union is still in contract negotiations with Activision, who says that they're legally prohibited from giving the union workers a pay bump until after those negotiations are finished. Oh, good. I was worried it was going to be retaliation or punishment for collective action. Whew. But turns out Kotaku reported that the National Labor Relations Board ruled that withholding the raise violated worker rights, so the struggle continues, and it doesn't sound like the contract negotiations are going well. My best to the QA employees trying to put this thing together.
Yeah, they're doing their best. We actually know a few of them pretty well, and you know what? We're still pulling for them. They're doing good work over there. In a blog post, they said that Activision has ignored all their major demands, including guarantees of continued remote work for offsite employees, plus assurances that they won't unilaterally change hours or outsource the unionized jobs in the future.
The blog post by the Game Workers Alliance went on to say, quote, although the company's continued intransigence is unwelcome at the bargaining table, the bargaining committee is confident that through our continued solidarity, mobilization, bargaining, as well as the company's illegal bargaining posture, we will prevail.
And we hope they do. Interesting timing on Activision's part too. Raven Software is one of the primary developers on Warzone 2.0, scheduled to launch on November 16th. You'd think that the QA department would have more leverage going into a launch like that, and hopefully soon.
Yeah, if they could strike at launch time, so bugs don't get fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, they know what they're doing more than we do. We're just speculating from the outside, but still, it's kind of surprising that Activision can just ignore them. So yeah, weirdly, apparently that's not pressing enough to get Activision to answer a goddamn email. That, in microcosm, seems to be the narrative across the board with Modern Warfare 2. It's a blockbuster that's just so huge, Activision can throw their weight around and sort of land grab a little bit. Higher price, more features that are in their interest, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but what do you think? Is Activision using Modern Warfare to get away with murder? Or do none of these issues really matter at all?
I don't know what to think anymore. It's like, I mean, like, I guess you can just dick over QA because you can ship your game broken and just wait them out while they, you know, starve or whatever because you don't pay them enough. I don't know. This sucks. I mean, I'm happy that fans of the franchise, I guess, get to get the entry that it should be, but also, like, wow, just... I hate to see companies be given such a windfall after so many awful actions leading up to the game's release, and then it's just like, you know, like sexual assault scandals, labor disputes, like wage theft, and then it's like, our game made $800 million, so everything's fine for us. It's just... it just sucks. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was kind of hoping that the reason the game is so good, because it really is great. I played almost all aspects of it at this point, and the reason the game is so good is hopefully maybe the culture had improved at Activision, and maybe that they were happier making these games and doing a good job and getting paid the you know, the correct rates and stuff. And this QA stuff just bugs the hell out of me because we've been, I mean, Lawrence and I've been reporting on this for about a year, right? Is that?
Yeah, it was back in April, I think, when they unionized.
And it's just one of those things that I was like, all right, well, maybe they've improved and now they're making a better game, and this is the product of it. But it may not be the case.
Yeah, unionizing is messy. It's messy. It's not just like, you can't just flip a switch and then all of a sudden everyone has workplace protections. If you form a union, you're basically entering into combat with your employer, which is fine. But then you kind of have to, like, if you look at the reality of it, they kind of hold a lot of the leverage there. And Activision's using their leverage. They're just freezing the union out, so...
What about cool bosses?
Oh, like the ones that sit backwards in chairs and wear, like, backwards hats and stuff?
And jeans.
Oh, they wear jeans to work? Oh, that's a... All right, never mind. Scrub all this. As long as I get a cool boss, it doesn't matter. I go back and forth on this because it does suck that a good product can completely eradicate any kind of social issue. I guess the counterpoint to that is that the games are everything. You know, that's what drives everything. And if the games are good, most people are willing to overlook anything. Activision's used Call of Duty to push prices higher before. I remember Call of Duty, was it Modern Warfare 2? Fuck, it might have been. It was like the first $60 game on PC back when those prices were going up too. PC games stayed at $50 for like an extra year or two for some reason. Activision pushed it up, everyone else followed. So we're seeing it again. Once you have a brand with that cachet, yeah, you can kind of get away with stuff and people will forgive it. That's just how it goes. I don't know. I don't know how to change that. That's just the market working as intended, I guess.
Well, it's the market. It'll work itself out.
Yeah, the market's always right.
Another interest rate hike. Let's go, baby. Don't let that bubble pop. I want more inflation. Let's keep going up to the moon. To the moon.
Lawrence, you want to do your disclosure?
Sure. Yeah. I used to humble brag on episodes about CD Projekt, but I can't do that anymore. Now I'm going to humble brag. My partner Stephanie works for Activision Publishing, so that's important to disclose while reporting on this. So I have a material connection there.
Yeah. Hey, a note on our last episode. Title was pretty clickbaity. We knew that. We connected two stories that were explicitly not connected. Now, it was one of those things where I saw the developer was saying the Series S is bad, but they didn't actually say Gotham Knights' performance is bad because of Series S. Maybe we should have put a question mark on the title. That might have helped you. But we did want to highlight this comment. Here it is.
Yeah, Jeremy DeMarco left a really good comment. Very accurately summed up our... Like, basically, we made a pretty erroneous comparison between the Series S and the PS4 Pro. It was sort of an off-the-cuff thing meant to just kind of correspond with the developer's claim that the Series S was basically a last-gen console. Thing is, I wasn't just, like, doing that for no reason. I've heard tons of other developers say this in private, how they actually don't like developing for the Series S and how like, even the higher end of consoles is not really very next-gen, according to a lot of developers. But still, the comparison isn't completely fair. But to dig into all that, it would have been like another minute and a half of explaining the technicals of how the game works. And a lot of people cited Digital Foundry there. That was the intent of their video. It wasn't necessarily the intent of ours. But if a lot of people were coming away with that impression, then we didn't set up the story right and the writing wasn't super clear. So we'll get better at that.
Although, just so you guys know how this whole YouTube game works, that was our best performing video in months. We want people to watch our content, we really do. It's tough to toe the line when the only way to grow is to play a little fast and loose with the headlines. And tell you what, I'm going to add a question mark to that title right now.
Yeah, all right, that'll get us out of it. That's the thing. That's always been the case with this show, and it's the case with games media in general. Clickbait is kind of a necessary evil, even though people in the comments insist that it's not. Ideally, we can work ourselves into the position of doing like ironic clickbait that's so stupid people still click on it, and most people understand that it's a joke and a necessary evil. That's kind of where we used to be back in the day. But we need to find something that works in the YouTube ecosystem but doesn't mislead or upset you guys. So we will adjust, but clickbait can't go away. That's just how it is.
That's how YouTube goes. Hey, but we would like to thank some patrons that are directly supporting Inside Games, and they have actually boycotted every single game they've ever seen. Christian Morgan Anderson, Baron 5X, Chase T, Cody Jost. They really honestly just never buy video games.
Good for them. But just to balance it out, I've got some patrons that jump every gaming picket line they can find. The most controversial games, they buy 10 copies each. Ryan Daraberry, James Bowser, Tony Varela, and Kyle Heaton. You're keeping the market moving. Thank you very much.